let's talk more about markets and the stocks that are in focus. Let's bring on board Kunal Rambia now on the show. Very good afternoon to you, Kunal. And Kunal, the first stock that you're going to talk about is Maruti Suzuki. Do you think that there is more steam left in this auto player going ahead, given the fact that you have a lot of technical analysts actually highlighting the fact that the auto sector is now looking at a downtrend?
Very good afternoon to everyone. So if you look at this counter again, not just like in market, this counter is also available right near to the support. If we just go back to the history and check out the December low, that was at around 8,150. Before that, we had the similar low somewhere in June 2022, and right now, presently, the counter is available right near to the support. So downside seems to be like 1.5% on this counter. One can initiate a buy on this. Stop loss being 8,100. I think this counter is poised for a new rally, 8,600 to 8,700 to watch out for. But mind, this view is a positional view on the counter.
Okay, let's move on and talk about Paytm. Now, this stock is in focus by the Reserve Bank of India. What they have said in terms of coming in, that the Reserve Bank of India has now said that the Paytm's payment service can continue with their online payment aggregator business while it awaits approval from the Government of India for the past investments from 197 Communication into Paytm payment services. This is as per the FDI guidelines. Now, RBI has provided 15 days time to Paytm payment services to file application to operate as an online payment aggregator after getting government approval. We've seen that the stock is buzzing in trade. It's up 1.36% in trade as of now, standing at 627.
All right, moving on, let's talk about Kotak Mahindra Bank. And today you have Kotak Mahindra Bank that is in focus on back of an upgrade rating that has come out from CLSA. At one point in time, the stock was trading higher by about 1% or so. Right now, also around those levels. It's hit its highest levels since March 22nd. And the stock is set for a second consecutive session of gains, and that is at the gains hold. Remember, CLSA has upgraded the stock to outperform from a buy rating. They're expecting the cost growth to moderate from FY24, leading to cost income improvement. They are saying the mergers and acquisition, especially related to liabilities, could be accretive. And on back of that, CLSA has upgraded the stock to a buy rating from outperform with a target of 2,080 rupees per share.
Okay, CLSA is giving Kotak a thumbs up, but Kunal, are you giving Kotak a thumbs up? Is it looking attractive on the charts as well?
Absolutely. This counter is again one of those counters which is underperforming in a big way. If you look at the historical performance, November 2020, so far, this counter has touched around 1650 mark 4 times. Just last week itself, we saw the low of Kotak Bank near to 1650, and this counter is now making a curve formation. So seems to be a great risk-reward ratio for the long-term investors. I think one can initiate a buy here. Stop loss will be 1600, and I think this counter, if at all picks up the momentum above 1720, can go up to 1800 to 1850 in very short span of time.
All right, so that's the take coming in on Kotak Mahindra Bank from Kunal as well. But Harsh, NBCC, why is this one in focus?
Well, they won a contract, Cheryl, 80 crore odd. It's from the AIIMS. Just to give context, through the month of March, NBCC has won orders worth 2,000 crore plus, which is roughly 1/4 of the revenue in the month of March alone, is what I'm speaking about. And that's a very solid pipeline which NBCC continues to build on. Despite that, of course, the stock currently down 1.5% as we speak.
Okay, let's move on. And Ashesha, you've picked out a couple of names from the pharma space. Which are those? What's the news flow here today? Pharma is surely buzzing and bucking the trend, but what is the news, please?
A whole host of pharma and healthcare stocks are in focus today, and that is on the back of US FDA action. First up, we have Zydus Wellness in focus, and that is because US FDA conducted an inspection at the manufacturing facility of the company in Ahmedabad from the 20th to 24th of March. Pre-approval inspection as well as GMP audit were concluded with 3 observations. However, the company has gone ahead on record and said that there were no data integrity related observations. Apart from that, Lupin is also in focus because they have announced successful completion of an inspection at its Pithampur facilities. An inspection was completed by the US FDA with 0 observations. And lastly, Alembic Pharma in focus, and that is because US FDA conducted an inspection of injectable and ophthalmic facility from the 16th to 24th of March at their facility. US FDA has issued Form 483 with 2 observations, and the company has said that it will be replying to these observations within the stipulated time limit. So on account of these actions that have come in, all of these 3 counters are in focus today.
All right, Lupin is also in focus, or rather is on Kunal's radar as well. Kunal, how does Lupin look to you on the charts today? Is anyway soaring 3.5%.
So if you look at the broader formation again on the Lupin chart, it's been a massive underperformer. But the bottom of 2020, and post that we have one more bottom that's of 2022, May 2022. So if we connect these 2 bottoms, there is a 35-degree trend line. The counter tested that level at around 640, consolidated near that level, and now it's giving a good momentum from the present level. So the levels to watch out for Lupin here on are going to be 670. If this counter gives a decisive closing above 670, I think the bottom is already in place. Then that's going to be the confirmation. The first target for this can be 730 and 750, but it's a perfect bargain buying opportunity waiting for the breakout of 670 now.
Let's move on and talk about ISGC Heavy Engineering. That stock is in focus. Intraday, it actually rallied as much as 4%. And why is that so? Because it's on the back of an order win. 197 crores order is what they've received from the Maharashtra State Power Generation Company. And this is mainly for the renovation and modernization of the electrostatic precipitators. Now, on the back of this, what ISGC has received this prestigious order, they said in their press release, from the Maharashtra State Power Generation Company for renovation modernization of the electrostatic precipitators for 2 times 2 into 500 megawatt TPP, and this is in at Chandrapur Thermal Power Station District in Chandrapur in Maharashtra. So let's keep an eye out on this one. The scope of work actually includes design, engineering, supply, assembly, erection, as well as commissioning and performance guarantee testing for the ESP and upgradation of 2 into 500 megawatt units as well. So keep an eye out on this one. The stock has given up its morning gains, but still managing to hold on to gains of around 0.8%.
All right, that's Ijak Heavy for you. Off the day's highest point, still holding in the positive territory. But Kunal, let's talk about Reliance Industries. Big boy Reliance Industries definitely leading the gains from the front in today's trading session. Where do you see this one headed from here on after a period of heavy consolidation or even a tad bit of downtrend coming in for Reliance? Do you think that it will now pick up steam? A good stock to invest in right now, given the fact it's fallen so much?
So honestly speaking, we discussed about this counter in the beginning of March also, and this was right near to the support. The interesting observation right now is that the first bottom which we saw on Reliance is on 20th of March, where it made a bottom of around 2180, and today's bottom is 2200, and it's right now near to the high of the day, which is forming a double bottom on the daily chart. Weekly chart is a broader consolidation, as you rightly pointed out, and right now in daily chart it's making double bottom formation, a perfect buying opportunity for the traders as well as for investors. The stop loss on this counter is going to be 2190. One can initiate a buy. I think this counter is now going to show us 2370 to 2500 in next 1 quarter.
All right, moving on from Reliance Industries then to the AMC counters. And if you look at the AMC counters, be it HDFC AMC, UTI AMC, or even for the matter of fact, Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC, all of them were under pressure in today's trading session. HDFC AMC has managed to recover from the day's lowest point. The government on Friday, remember, passed amendments to the tax benefits from long-term debt mutual funds. Remember, mutual funds with less than 35% invested in domestic equities are proposed to be treated as short term. This is what the finance bill amendments had said. CLSA is saying that the move is a negative for mutual fund industry, having non-liquid AUMs of approximately 8 lakh crore rupees which constitutes 19% of the AUMs, as the relative attractiveness due to the tax arbitrage goes away. Also, following these changes, no tax arbitrage left across debt instruments is what CLSA has to say. And remember, the indexation benefits from the debt mutual funds has been removed, and this could reduce inflows in debt mutual funds and benefit bank deposits and direct bond investment from HNI and family offices. This is what another analyst had to say. So on back of that, you have AMCs that are in focus. It's astonishing to see HDFC MC actually recover all of those losses, but Aditya Birla Sun Life hammered out of shape in today's trading session.
Okay, let's move on, and there's one more pharma name coming in on your list, Kunal, and that is Aurobindo Pharma. How are you looking at the charts for this one? Finally, is it time and a turnaround that we could expect for Aurobindo Pharma?
This counter was in downtrend since May 2021, from the highs of around 1050, 1060 to the bottom of around 400. This entire down channel is taken out decisively just a couple of days back. And if you look at the last week performance, it was about around 4.5-5% today. It's about around 2.5% again, which is giving a perfect breakout confirmation. Let's not buy at the higher level. Wait for the counter to come down near to 500 level. That would be the best entry level. Accumulate near 500, stop loss being 450. I think this is completely bottomed out counter, and we can expect the target of around 625 to 630.
Completely bottomed out counter. You can see a target upwards of 600 rupees per share for Aurobindo Pharma is what Kunal has to say. But Harsh, let's shift focus from the pharma space right on to the OMC pack, and BPCL is a stock that you're tracking for us. What's the news flow surrounding this one?
Yes, Cheryl, BPCL has now gone ahead and announced that they've electrified more than 5,000 kilometers of highway. The stretch largely is between Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Of course, this is to promote EV growth going forward. The company clarified that they are going to be connecting important religious and tourist destinations to cities with 30 kilowatt fast charging stations installed at 110 fuel stations, creating 19 EV fast charging corridors on 15 major highways. So this is of course a good fillip to the OMC counter with regard to their pivot towards EV, and you can see the stock is largely flat in trade today, but this is definitely a positive development.
Okay, and Ashesha, at stock number 33, you've picked out a whole sector that is metals, and you track it very closely. So please tell us, what is the news flow here? Why is this whole pack in focus?
These counters are in focus today on the back of a brokerage note that has come in. Bank of America Securities continues to remain constructive on the entire metal and mining space, at least in the near term. First up, they've spoken about steel prices, where they expect steel prices to rise in the near term. This is on account of strong demand that we are seeing domestically, and also because of exports rising after rollback of export duty by the government in the month of November. From the ferrous space, Tata Steel is their top pick. They've also spoken about non-ferrous names like Vedanta, where they're pretty bullish on. They believe Vedanta will benefit from strong aluminium outlook that they have. As far as Hindustan Zinc is concerned, recently Hindustan Zinc declared a dividend of 26 rupees per share, on account of which they've retained their underperform rating on the stock, and they've gone ahead and cut the target price on Hindustan Zinc to 225 rupees per share. As far as iron ore prices are concerned, they expect iron ore prices to rise going forward. This is on account of increase in Chinese demand, and also on account of increase in pellet exports that companies like NMDC are expected to witness, and hence for now they maintained a buy rating on NMDC as well. So they are constructive on the sector as a whole, and because of which we are seeing action on all of these counters today. Tata Steel, Vedanta, Hindustan Zinc, all of them trading with gains today.
Right, so that's BofA's take coming in on metal counter. But Kunal, what's your take coming in on Nalco? But this one is under pressure in today's trading session, and not just today. If you look at the one-year return, also heavy loss coming in for Nalco. No doubt, year to date, it has tried to minimize that losses. But where do you see Nalco headed from here on? Do you think now it has reached an attractive level that you can look to bet on this one for the short to medium term?
So if you look at the historical performance, again, the first bottom was somewhere in July 2022, and the second bottom was in September 22, and the extreme low which we saw on the counter was 65. And since then, this counter is in positive trend, but it's going very muted and very slow. as you know, if I can see show the chart, it's right near to the support itself on the 35-degree trend line. Extreme low being 75, that can be the stop loss. One can initiate a buy. This counter is a slow moving counter, but good opportunity for the positional traders. 75 being the positional stop loss. I think the target can be 85, and above 85 it can go to 105.
Okay, let's move on and talk about Tube Investments. Now, this stock is in focus. Why? Because Tube Investments and Azim Premji Foundation's Premji Investments have joined hands to acquire acquire actually Lotus Surgical Private Limited, which is engaged in the business of wound closure products, and this is for an estimated value of around 350 crore rupees. Now, Tube Investments will invest around 233 crores, while Premji Invest will invest 115 crores to acquire the equity share for the existing shareholders of Lotus Surgicals. Now, Tube Investment India and Premji Invest through the PI Opportunity Fund 1 and Scheme 2 on Saturday said that they've signed a share purchase agreement to acquire 100% equity in Lotus Surgical. So let's keep an eye out on this one. As of now, Tube Investments given up all this morning gains.
All right, moving on from Tube Investments to Mahindra & Mahindra, and this one is under pressure in today's trading session. Bank of America has come out with a downgrade on Mahindra & Mahindra, while a target cut for Escorts, Kubota. But for Mahindra & Mahindra, they have downgraded to neutral, and this they have done from an outperform rating. They are saying that they see risk-reward balanced, and also they're saying the stock has been the best performing stock over the last year. The stock view is that it will likely go through a period of time correction, and they're seeing lack of meaningful catalysts in the near term for Mahindra & Mahindra. They're also estimating from M&M, also the estimates for Mahindra & Mahindra are 10 to 12% below street estimates, and they are not. This is without imputing for the El Nino impact. They're also saying there is uncertainty on the farm business outlook. So for now, you have M&M that's under pressure in today's trading session, 1% downtick on back of that BOFA downgrade.
Okay, let's move on. And Kunal, you're surely loving this pharma space today. Yes, it's buzzing in trade, but Glenmark Pharma also coming in on your list today. What is the chart looking like for this one? What is the run-up? What's the target price?
So extreme consolidation. Certainly, you know, the pharma space is doing really good in today's session. But on this counter, if you look at the price action since April 2022, a massive sideways consolidation. Counter tried crossing 450 mark couple of times in the past, but it was a failure. In today's session, the way the daily candle is shaping up, I think this counter is poised for a breakout now. The levels to watch out are going to be 450. Once this counter closes above 450, right now it's trading at 441. So once it crosses and closes above 450, one can initiate a buy. I think the target then can be around 510 to 520, and the stop loss being 450. But it's 430. It's a conditional call, buying above 450.
Moving on, Harsh, J&K Bank, why is this one in focus today?
Well, they came on our channel, Cheryl, and what they announced was they're expecting a mid-teen type of growth in FY24, so 14 to 15% roughly. But let's look at the larger 6-month picture of J&K Bank. The stock is up 65% over the last 6 months, despite it declining 18% year to date. So essentially, a lot of the run-up that the stock has seen has been over the last 6 months, and it's been quite solid. And asset quality therefore has improved. Certain metrics with regard to margins have also improved. The commentary from the bank was that they expect to sustain the margins at the 4% odd level. Maybe in FY25 will be slightly below 4%, but the larger goal is to hit that 4% mark. They want to become a major liability franchise even outside of J&K, and they're going to build on that going forward. They have already got a presence in 17 states and 2 union territories, and they continue to grow that. Funding, they believe, will come from Tier 2 capital, which they will grow post April of this year. And they will look to infuse around 700 crores of both Tier 2 capital as well as equity capital into the organization to try and push growth forward. So that was largely the commentary. Of course, the stock is down despite that.
Okay, let's keep an eye on that one. But let's move on and talk about Metropolis Labs. Kunal, how are you looking at Metropolis? You know, when you look at in terms of returns, Metropolis has not managed to give any returns in the last 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. Now, what is it looking like? Finally, some green, some positive returns coming in for the investors.
So again, if you look at the overall performance, September 2019, the bottom was around 1200. Post that, we again saw the similar bottom in April 2020, and recently the counter made the bottom near to those 1200 mark itself. And in today's session, it's showing a thumbs up. So it's a perfect bullish engulfing candle right near to the support. One can initiate a buy on this. The first stop loss on this counter is gonna be 1180. And if this momentum picks up, I think this is again one of the completely bottoming out counter. And the first target can be 1400, and above that we'll keep revising the target.
Okay, the first target we could keep an eye out for Metropolis Healthcare could be 1400 as well. Let's look at how the stock does and trade going forward. But let's move on and talk about Minda. This stock is in focus. We have a note that came in from Kotak Securities where they've upgraded the stock to a buy from a previous ad. And what they're saying is now they have said that the valuations have become more attractive given the stock price correction of 15% in the past 1 month. Other than that, Kotak also highlights that the near-term outlook for the auto industries remains a bit bleak given the multiple headwinds. However, they continue to remain constructive on the company's medium-term growth prospects, driven mainly by the increase in content due to the premiumization and addition of newer products. Other than that, the other reason where they believe why Minda will be doing well is that the order wins across the product segment, including EVs, is resulting in market share gains for the company. We've seen that the stock has gained momentum during today's day. It's up 2.8% as we speak.
All right, and that indeed is the 40th stock and the last stock on this edition of Market Fatafat. Thank you so much, Kunal, Forum, as well as Ashesha and Harsh for joining us on the show. And as we wrap this edition of Market Fatafat, here are what Lawrence Blanco of CLSA had to say. He believes that there will be further volatility in the Nifty range, leading to more underperformance over the next 2 quarters. What are his picks or what is his take on other stocks? Listening.
Well, our base case is that we're expecting to see further volatility in the trading range that the Nifty's set up, basically from the peak that you made in late 2021. And that range, unfortunately, is fairly wide. We're talking about a 15 to 70% wide trading range, which has provided support around that 15,400 area for the Nifty and resistance up at the 18,600. The positive short-term setup is that we did find support at the 16,700 area on late last week, and we continue to hold that in early trade on Monday. So best case scenario is that we're holding the upper boundary of that trading range. The fact that the Nifty remains trendless would suggest that at least for the next 2 quarters, we're likely to see further relative underperformance if you look at it versus an EM basket at least.
In this bout of underperformance, Lawrence, what are the levels that you're monitoring on the index? What's the target on the downside and the upside for the remainder of the year?
Yeah, remember, it's a relative call, so we can continue to hold the 16,800 to 18,600. That would be the best case scenario. The weakest scenario would be a break below the 16,800, and that would open the door for a move to the bottom of the range, which comes through at the 15,400 area.
Do you think the bull market in India, which let's say started in April, May 2020, that's over now?
I think from the longer term perspective, the trends are still very positive for the broader market, and we still got upside targets of 20,700 to 20,800. But we have mentioned before, that it's not uncommon for the Nifty to spend a number of months, if not years, trading in a range. I mean, you can go back to the 2010 to 14 scenario that you consolidated the gains of the 2009 lows before you broke out in 2014. And then you saw a similar 12-month period between 2015 and 16 where the market digested the gains following the breakout from 2014. And currently we're pushing on to 16 months of a ranging period, and that could extend for another 6 months at the very least, but it doesn't alter the longer term structure, which remains bullish.